views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Hi, welcome. This is Dr. John DeMartini. This is one of the most amazing and inspiring shows that you can listen into. If you want to be on the edge of your seats, if you want to open up your heart, if you want to expand your mind, and you want to meet incredible people, stay tuned because you're just about to experience a transformative radio show that will change your life. And you're listening to the Dr. Pat Show that's coming up right next.
The following audio is via a Skype call.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail. Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We have got a great lineup for you today. Monte Farber and Amy Zerner joining me here today. Why? Because we're going to talk about two of my favorite things to talk about. We're going to talk about astrology and we're going to talk about food. Now, this is so fun for all of you out there. And we have two copies of their fabulous book to give away, an Astrology Cookbook. And you know what I love about this? And by the way, there was a chef involved with this too, and we'll talk about that for a minute. But have you ever wondered why, you have some of the foodies that you have, things that go on within you? Did you ever put it together that maybe it has something to do with your sign? Well, today, Signs and Seasons, an astrological cookbook with the authors. They've been on the show before, Monte and Amy have. But more importantly, this isn't the only thing they've done. They are amazing people. They are award-winning fine artists, as well as folks that take a message out into the world to let us all know that they have these spiritual power tools, just like we have our positive media mojo, which we started to talk about. These folks are doing it in a different way. But the bottom line is we're all here to check ourselves at the door, ask ourselves what vibration we got going on today, and then do a little bit of fine tuning. Now, why do we do a little bit of fine tuning? So that we don't have to be grouchy and ornery every day. You know what I'm saying? But this is more important about living a life that you can look back at and say, I honored the dignity of the human spirit in all, and I contributed, and I led with love. Monte, Amy, welcome to the show. It's great to have you here.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pat. We love being here.
We love being back, and we love food, and we love astrology, and we love you.
I'm telling you, I was on the verge of doing a Facebook post this morning on that. One of my favorite prayers, which is the prayer of St. Francis, which was not actually written by St. Francis. And every time I say that, I know you're getting ready to send me some kind of email. It's really true. But the point is, you know how you get those emails.
Yes,
but the point
I
is
do.
this. It doesn't matter who wrote that prayer, does it?
No.
It doesn't matter.
It's universal.
No.
It's true.
Yeah. It's true. There you go. Today, I want to ask you this question. I gave a very, very brief introduction of your work. I want to ask this question before we get in. I got to know what keeps you two going. That's what I want to know. Because, you've done so many things. I want to know what gets you up and keeps you going.
That's a good question. I mean, I don't want to sound cliche, but it's love. It's our love for life, our love for each other, our love for the spiritual material that we write about in different ways, the ancient wisdom. I think, it's just a creative urge in both of us that we share, that we've been together for 43 years, and it's been that way since we first met.
Yeah,
wow.
I don't know what I could add to that. I never think about not getting up, so I don't drink, so I don't have a hangover, and I don't want to go back to sleep.
We're very enthusiastic about what we do and what we share, and I think it's mainly an interest in people and why they do what they do. Astrology is such a beautiful language of psychology and describes all of our quirks and traits and interactions and relationships. And as an artist, I love to work with those archetypes. And in our new book, we look at the personality traits in terms of food and eating and entertaining.
And plus, we're having so much fun.
I know. I totally get it because, I am too. And I'm always surprised at when I think about, getting up and starting my day. I wake up and my first conversation is generally with Linda. And it's generally because Linda's been my friend since 1973. So she pretty much, I know.
It's like us since 74.
It is.
Yeah.
It absolutely is. And then she's also the producer here, our executive producer. So nothing
you work
goes
together.
on air.
Yeah, it's a very unique and intimate and wonderful opportunity we have to share that.
But
it's a little futuristic also. I think the way the world is, I think people are going to work more and more with the person that they love because life is short, and if you can figure out a way to do it, why not? Spend as much time together as possible.
You always have something to talk about.
Always have something to talk about.
And plus, it's so much fun to have an idea and to write it until it...
Explore it.
Yeah. And
so thoroughly, to put it into a book and a beautiful package.
And we're having the 30th anniversary of my Karma Cards comes out in the fall, and the 25th anniversary of Amy's Enchanted Tarot. So, we've had books in continuous print for 30 and 25 and 20 years. If one author has one book that stays for more than a year, they're considered lucky, and we have about 15 evergreen titles. So we're getting feedback from the world, and I think that helps, too.
To fuel it, yes.
We have books in 17 languages.
Yeah, but we are, too. I love that we're talking about this because we are on the verge of, we're literally January of 18 is when our technology should be finished. We've been working on it for about 2.5 years.
Wow.
And we've launched it a little bit here, a little bit there. Right now, we've got our new website design that's got a few hiccups, but we built it based on our feedback from listeners, from clients, not based on radio or media.
It's collaborative that way. Yeah.
Exactly.
When I design clothes, I was going to say when I design clothes for women, I'm also a fashion designer, and I love to work with what the person wants and needs, and I learn so much each time.
Do you do astrology? So is the next book going to be signs and signature clothing?
I do have some ideas for that. Sort of a goddess garb kind of approach to it.
So I got a question for you. It's a burning question. Now, some people have a few signs here and a few signs there. I want to ask you, because I have the book in front of me, I want to ask you, what if you are somebody like me that has 4 planets in Sagittarius and 4 planets in Capricorn, including my moon? Do we wake up every day asking ourselves, who am I?
I don't think so. I think you tell people who they are.
Well, it's so philosophical with all that Sagittarius. So you're always pondering life and learning and teaching, and the Capricorn's so goal-oriented. But I can tell you what you like to eat.
That's my question. That's my question, because I'm reading the book and I'm saying, okay, wait a minute. What do I read this from? Do I read?
It can work.
Tell us about the book.
Like during the time of Sagittarius, we're all a little bit Sagittarian because those are the seasonal foods, and the book is written in the Wheel of Life style. So Monte explains in the book how astrology reflects the seasons, and those cycles each have their magical ingredients and magical vibes.
I mean, astrology evolved in the Western Hemisphere in the northern part of the globe So the seasons are tied to the agrarian culture. Aries is when the heads of the animals and the rams butted against each other is the symbol. Mm-hmm. But it's when the heads of all the plants and the crocuses push themselves out of the snow. And Pisces is a time when there's no food, so everyone had a sacrifice for each other. Aries is when everyone got going because, oh my God, it's warm enough to walk out of the house. And Taurus is you hook up the oxen and you plow the ground. And Gemini is, wow, we plowed the ground, now we can talk to our neighbors. So it's about communication. There's a seasonal reference, and as every chef knows, you cook with what's in season. That's what makes really good cooking, if you use fresh ingredients. So it's actually a wonderful cookbook with an astrology subtext. It doesn't say if you're a Leo, you're going to like only the Leo things that we have, and not all Leos are going to like what we say Leos like. But
for instance, we had a dinner party last night. We had about 12 people, and we had a few Leos, so I made a few Leo dishes, and we had somebody with Cancer rising, so I made it a Cancer dish. You can use it for your rising sign or your moon sign or your sun sign because, you got to feel out the mood and think about who you're entertaining because naturally these days we ask, what allergies somebody might have or food preferences. So on top of that, then you look into their astrology signs and you pick something. We have 96 recipes in the book, so we have starters and salads and desserts and sides. You can pick something that will appeal to everyone, and it's a great conversation starter too.
I have to tell you, I love to cook, and I'm going through these books and I'm looking at the recipes, and I totally forgot that I'm looking at signs. Yeah. First of all, the pictures are just beautiful.
Thank you. It's Monte's photography. We cooked everything here in our home.
Did you?
Photographed it in my studio, and then we ate it.
Yeah, people
very satisfying book.
It was. I like having a book that you can eat everything that you photograph. It's a lot of fun.
Well, I want to ask you this. Can you tell us a little bit about how the foods get aligned with a sign? Right? Because I had never heard of this before, but yet I know for myself, right? I know there's something else. Let me give you just one simple example. I have a friend that I play table tennis with, and she's Asian. And so she makes this delicious food. And I don't know how to make it, but it's delicious. She uses every part of the pumpkin. So let's just start with that, every part of it. So she makes this delicious food, and I am blown away by the pumpkin in this broth and the pumpkin leaves, which, oh my gosh. And all of a sudden I'm turning to your book, and I was thinking to myself, why do I like pumpkin? I'm from the Bronx. I don't understand.
Well, Sagittarius is right next to Scorpio. So do you have any planets in Scorpio?
Not very many. But then I zoom in on your pumpkin risotto.
Yes. Which is delicious.
And I'm like, okay, there it is. Must have something to do with it. But it's not that simple, is it? Can you give us a little backdrop for people that are listening, going to be getting copies of the book, how to work with their signs and the recipes?
Well, in astrology, we're fire signs or air signs or earth signs. So that's one layer. And then we're also either mutable or cardinal. There's different layers within your sign. Say Sagittarius is your ruling planet's Jupiter. So you're very open-minded. You're generous. You're optimistic. You're well-traveled. It rules travel.
So you would want foreign food. Someone who's got a lot of Sagittarius would be more inclined to want to know about the food from Asia or the food from another country, so you yourself could disseminate that knowledge to other people. Sagittarius is all about the honesty and world travel and college and philosophy.
Appreciating other cultures and what they have to offer.
Right. And Aries are in a hurry, and they're the pioneers, so they want something they can grab and throw in their pack and go out the door. And they don't want something that they have to spend a whole day cooking. They want to make something fast. Like when we come home, Amy's in Aries, and she has a few planets in Aries. By the time I've unloaded the car, she's made dinner. We both come home at the same time.
We can throw it together fast. So we really describe, the first half of the book is how, the personality traits of how each sign eats and cooks and how they entertain. And it's fun, but it's also true. And so just from observing, for doing astrology for 40 years, both of us, we've taken notes on all the parties that we've given. We observe everyone's little quirks and we have put it all into the book.
We have insights. The chef we work with, Chef John Okus, who's a private chef out here and a great astrologer who we've known since before we were married, so that's in the 70s. It's basically a wonderful cookbook, but we have these two Aries, so we have insights into Aries. I'm an Aquarius, so I know for a fact that Aquarius like to come into a kitchen and not use a recipe or a book, but even though we should buy it because it's important, you Aquarians out there, you rebels, but we're the kind of people that could come in and just use your spice rack and make dinner out of it.
Well, so here's a question for you, and let's try to keep it to food, but I doubt whether we will be able to. And by the way, I just want to say for those of you out there, we're opening up the phone lines, and make sure that you give Benny your what do you need? Their date of birth, right?
Just their sun sign.
Sun sign.
Yeah.
Yep. And if you don't know your sun sign by chance, let's get your date of birth, your date, and we'll be able to figure that out. And then we'll be able to give you some insight as to how this is working for you. 1-800-930-2819. 1-800-930-2819. So I got a question for you, and let's use the book as a backdrop for it because I've read the book. Here's me. I am this Taurus rising, moon. I don't even know what the planets are over there. They're in two houses really close to each other, right? Capricorn,
the
moon.
Sag and Capricorn are next to each other.
Next to each other up there, those planets, Taurus rising. Here's me. Then Linda, my best friend forever, like a triple Virgo. How are you even friends for this long? Well,
you got to look at how the charts work. You can't just go by sun signs and, is this as a Pisces, can they be with an Aries? Because everyone has 10 planets, because we count the sun and the moon, and how they all interact. Like if you look at Amy and my chart, we shouldn't be married to anyone, let alone each other, and because we're both very individual, but yet it works, and we've been together for over 40 years. And Virgo right now is getting hit by the Mercury retrograde in Virgo, and Mercury rules Virgo. So
make sure she double checks everything. But I also want to say, Virgo notices all the details. In some of the recipes for Virgo, we have like little berries, and they're very precise, and they maybe they don't like the food on their plate to touch each other.
And Virgo and Sag. I mean, Virgo likes the small things. Sagittarius likes the big things. So you complement each other.
Oh, yeah, it's true.
You see the big picture. She sees all the little details.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That is so true. And yet at the same time, we honor each other because Linda's really clear about a lot of things.
Oh,
Linda's favorite line is, "I don't cook."
Well, you balance each other. We find in relationship, you do what you do best. Each person thinks what they're best at.
And Signs and Seasons actually works as a book as well as it works as a cookbook, because that's what Amy and I do. We try and chalk as much into stuff as we can. Like even our relationship book had an oracle in it. It had an affirmations oracle as part of the book. So there's a lot in there.
There is a lot in there. I want to ask you this, because I think, Amy, you mentioned it earlier. For those of you just tuning in, we're talking about signs and seasons. Feed your sign the food it craves. Amy Zerner, Monte Farber, Chef John Okus also was involved. But here, you mentioned this earlier, and I don't want to, blow by it. You also mentioned something about food allergies. I think that was your word. And I want to talk about that because right now, I don't know if it's because we're all on Facebook, but right now, almost everybody has got an allergy, but they're not the same allergies.
Well, because people always had them. They just didn't know what they were.
Right. Okay.
And
I think, there's such a trend for wellness that people are becoming doing more self-care and being more aware of what they eat and how they eat.
And the first law of people, when they become a doctor, they take the Hippocratic Oath. Hippocrates' first rule was, thy food shall be thy medicine. But that was right after do no harm. First, do no harm. And Hippocrates always said that you could not treat a person medically without knowing their astrology chart. But that's been forgotten, as so much has been.
Well, in the book, I have Monte happens to have celiac disease, so we're gluten-free in this house. I do it in support of him. So a lot of our dessert recipes are gluten-free, and a lot of our pasta recipes, you can bring your favorite gluten-free pasta to it if you have to be gluten-free. But I think people know how to adapt recipes to what their needs are.
And of course, the first thing you should do if you're having a dinner party is ask everybody about preferences and allergies. I'm not
it's
saying
only nice manners.
Yeah. Because, as much as I love our book, the truth is not afraid of questions. If people don't like a particular thing, they shouldn't eat it, whether it's for their sun sign or not.
Yeah, I think you should offer, if you have vegetarian, we have lots of vegetarian recipes. If you are entertaining, you should have a little something for everyone.
But it's fun to talk about.
How did you select it? I want to ask you how you selected the things, Amy. Because I love that you made everything from the cookbook, because do you know how many potlucks a month we have in the Western Washington area? This is the home of the I don't know if you both knew that.
I love potluck dinners.
Listen to me. I play table tennis every Saturday, and even table tennis has a potluck. And I'm
the best
only
because it makes it easier for everyone, and
okay, but now I got something to bring. How do I pick?
How did you select it, Amy?
How do I pick?
So say out here where we live in the eastern end of Long Island, peaches are big in season. So we passed a farm stand. I got a ton of peaches. I got a ton of blueberries. One of the favorite recipes is for cancer time, summertime, is blueberry coconut peach crisp. So it's really easy. It's really easy dessert. It was a big hit last night.
Oh, my God. I thought I'd be eating it for days. There's not a thing left. Not a drop.
What page is that on?
Then I made it our saffron rice.
Yeah, and it's arranged by season and sign. So you go to the season, because right now it's summer, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
But if it was fall, you would go to the fall season. Of course, our friends in the southern hemisphere have to reverse a little bit of this stuff.
So for Sagittarius, one of my favorite fall recipes coming up is plum upside-down cake. I'm talking about dessert just because I'm in the mood, because Sagittarius rules the color purple, so we picked plums. It was really fun to put all the different meanings together and have it come out in recipes.
Amy's quite a chef herself, and there's some of her old family recipes. She goes back to the Revolution on her mother's side, so there's a lot of old family recipes. And John's family on his mother's side was from Sicily, so there's a lot of amazing Mediterranean recipes. I mean, we have arancetta, those amazing things from Sicily.
The rice balls. So last night, we had a couple of Leos.
Do you make rice balls?
Oh,
Do you make the rice balls? Oh, my gosh. Are you kidding about that? They are
anybody who's ever been to Sicily or if you've ever watched the TV show Detective Montalbano or read the book, that's all they talk about is those rice balls.
Oh, boy. But, you can blow those in a hot second. We're going to take a short break when we come back. We're going to give away a copy of the book. And we're going to talk about the seasons. The seasons. What if you're like me, and it doesn't matter what season you're in, what temperature you're in, but you can't wait to get that cayenne pepper and put it on anything you could get your hands on. What the heck is going on with me astrologically? I don't know, but we're going to find out. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Brand consultant Jen Morgan is here with Radically Distinct Radio to help you take control of your future and maximize your brand's power to produce results. Whether you're an individual trying to reinvent yourself and launch a new venture, or you're an executive trying to reposition your company to modernize your sales and marketing programs, Jen Morgan and the RAD method empower you to play to your strengths and show up in the world as your most powerful brand. To learn more, go to jenmorgan.com. That's Jen with 2 N's Morgan.com, or call 206-972-5366.
Are you stuck in unhealthy habits, toxic relationships, or low self-esteem? Do you crave a life of inspiration, love, self-acceptance, and fun? Sounds like you're on the verge. On the verge to your next big thing. Join Laura Richer, host of On the Verge Radio, helping you use your breakdown for a breakthrough, overcome life's greatest challenges, and live the life you want and deserve. Tune in each month on Transformation Talk Radio or visit SeattleHealingHypnosis.com for more information.
Amber Teal, founder of The Healthy Edge, is bringing you the hit show Healthy Edge Radio, living with power, passion, and purpose. Amber provides the support and tools necessary for you to finally release the weight and emotions that are hidden beneath the weight. Tune in each month on Transformation Talk Radio. For more information on how you can take the next step with Amber, visit getthehealthyedge.com.
Live your magnificence, for the love of joy is a precious gift offered to us by Robert Schoenfeld, host of the Art of Powerful Living Radio. He takes us on an incredible 30-day adventure to expand our minds and hearts with the nectar of life, love, and joy. This book will help you bring more joy, love, health, abundance, adventure, romance, and magnificence into your life.
Tune in to The Truth is Funny with Colette Steffen each Wednesday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. This hit show will have you thinking outside the box and riding the wave of infinite potential. Join Colette on the Higher Self Network, inspiring listeners to shine their brilliance and ensure success while roaring with laughter as they recognize the humor of the giant cosmic joke. Visit thetruthisfunny.com.
Calling all moms, it's time to awaken your vibrant, intuitive, loving self in every area of your life. Join host Debbie Pokornik as she shares thoughts, stories, and tools to help you stand in your power. Listen to Vibrant, Powerful Moms helping everyday women create extraordinary lives. Mondays at 2:30 Pacific, 5:30 Eastern. For more information about Debbie, visit empoweringenergy.com. That's empowering with letters NRG.com.
Oh, yeah. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. I'm Dr. Pat, and I'm talking with Amy Zerner and Monte Farber. This book is amazing, and I cannot believe we actually are giving away 2 copies of it. Feed Your Sign the Food It Craves, Signs and Seasons. The way the book works, and Amy was just talking about it. First of all, you can go through the seasons, and it's broken down into summer, summer, winter, fall, spring, the whole deal. And then within the season, there are signs. But what I didn't say is that there are color pictures. Now, I have to tell you, color pictures in a book these days, folks, it is rare. Very rare. But we've got 2 copies of this to give away. I want to open up the phone lines for you. Are you cooking for somebody that doesn't appreciate what you're cooking? It could be the sign. It could be in the signs. Listen, Linda's mother and father, the fight that they had, if Linda's listening, I hope she gets on the show and shares this. The only fights I know about these 2 people having was over either the chicken cacciatore, something, that when she said, do you like the chicken cacciatore? He was like, like that. So here's the deal. 1-800-930-2819. What food do you think your sign might be craving? And we'll give a copy of the book away, Benny. 1-800-930-2819. Also, questions, go to Transformation Talk Radio, Dr. Pat Show. Type your question in. We'll get them on air. Facebook, type your question in. I don't even know how that works, but somebody is going to tell me your question is there. I'm not kidding about the food fights. Let's talk about this for a minute, because I was telling you about my friend Sunday who gave me pumpkin leaves. And because she turned me on to pumpkin and broth, pumpkin leaves. Then I go to the book, and what do I find? Pumpkin risotto. Linda's like, since when did you like pumpkin? Probably since I tasted it. But I don't know. I'm a Capricorn. I'm a late bloomer. So how do we make sense of what we like, what we don't like, and how do we explain it to our loved ones who are thinking everybody loves my chicken cacciatore but you?
Well, I think people that you love, people in your family, your children, your spouse, you should have their astrology charts. I mean, astrology is fascinating. Monty and I have been doing it for so many years. It helps us to understand each other and what cycles we're going through and why we are who we are and, why our parents are who they are. We're so individual, and our resistance to things or our cravings for things, it's all explained in astrology.
Yeah, it explains how. Everyone's crazy and explains how. So I love your question.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, if you really wanted to get into it, you could get into the astrology is a psychological language. The sun is your ego, the moon is your habits and your emotions, Mercury is your logical mind, Jupiter is how you respond when things are going well and how you make things go well, Uranus is how you respond when it hits the fan. And it's all about growth. So that's how we like to approach astrology, as helping you to grow as an individual and an enjoyment of your life.
And you can tell so much from a sun sign. We did a book signing the other day and asked each person what their sun sign was. So say they were a Libra, I could tell them how aesthetic they were, how perfectionistic they were, that they needed everything just right on the table, the flowers, the setting, the colors. Because they're Libras, they need, things to look artistic. And sometimes because they're so perfectionistic, it's hard for them to make a decision about what to eat.
Yes.
We get very specific in the book because we are so individual, and it's really fun. It helps you see people in a different way.
Yeah, Can I ask you this? Do you help people? Okay, so this has been I love the book. I mean, I cannot, oh my God, this plum upside down cake thing in here. I don't even understand that.
It's so delicious.
Some recipes are more complicated, some are really easy, but so there's something for everyone, literally.
That's like a dog hearing cheese is being opened up in the kitchen.
But Linda will say this. She'll say, it doesn't matter what it is, Pat. If it's got the word upside down in it, you're going to love it. And I think that's... So what is that, like a little Sagittarius joke?
Yeah,
right
but that's
there?
so funny because upside down cake is our dessert for Sagittarius.
Yeah.
And you said you had a lot of Sagittarius.
Oh, I have a lot. I have 4 planets. My sun sign.
That's a lot. That means you're as honest as the day is long.
Oh my gosh. So here's the question that just came in. Love this question. Mary, you rock. Thank you for this question. She says, Mary from, Mary, is that Idaho? No, I don't. Yeah, that's Idaho. Is asking the question, okay, I just had my transits done. Mm-hmm. Okay, do you two know what she's talking about? Sure. I just had my transits done. So things change when we look at the years that pass. Does this affect my food craving? Oh, this is a good question.
Very funny.
That's
the
good.
Transits can affect your food craving in the sense, first of all, for everybody out there, transits are nothing more than how the planets in the sky right this moment relate to the planets the way they were the moment you're born, because you're a hologram of the way the planets were born. At the moment you were born. So the angles that they make. So let's say your sun is, let's say you're Sag like you, and let's say, Saturn's in Sagittarius right now. So that would make you more serious.
A little more traditional with your eating.
Yeah. So
I was serious this morning. We had a 9 o'clock call. 9 o'clock call with our marketing folks, sales and marketing folks, and I was very serious today.
Yeah, well, with Saturn and Sag, it's there for 2.5 years. Saturn's in the sign for 2.5 years.
Don't tell me that.
Well, it's at the end. It's going to go.
Don't tell me that.
It's going to go forward, and then then it'll get out of there, and then it'll be in Capricorn, its ruling sign. But so for all the Sagittarians, they would be more Saturnine, more restricted. They might have to watch their diet a little bit for health reasons.
Yeah, Monty talks a lot about these kind of things. Go ahead.
Every day I have to watch my diet. That did start about 7 years ago or 5 years ago. Is that what you're talking about there?
Well, 7 years is I think is Uranus. 14-year cycles are Neptune through a sign. But if I looked at your chart, I could explain it better. But in general, with Saturn in your sign, you're going to be more serious about your food. You might not be able to eat what you want to eat, only what you have to eat.
A little more restrictive.
Yeah, because Saturn is the other name for Saturn was Chronos, like your chronometer. So Saturn is time, structure, your bones.
Yeah, so that was a good question.
Yeah, excellent.
But
all right, well, listen, wait. We have Annette calling in from Michigan, and I don't want to run out of time. We've got our listeners are a little fired up over this. A lot of comments. Benny, why don't we grab Annette before so we can get Annette in here?
Welcome to the show, Annette.
Annette,
hi.
How can we help you? What do you think of this? Isn't this totally fun?
First of all, I'm starving now. Thanks, guys.
That's funny.
But here's my question. I have heard that certain sun signs are natural-born carnivores, while other sun signs would tend to lean more towards vegetarian or veganism. Is that really that predictable or that
I don't
easy
think so.
to spot?
In a certain sense, it is. Say a Capricorn is more earthy, more traditional. It's winter time. You want to keep warm, so they're more drawn to meat and potatoes just naturally. But it wouldn't mean that all Capricorns eat meat.
Yeah, it's so individual. That's the great thing about astrology. It shows us all how we're alike, and it shows us all how we're different.
But seasonally, we tend to eat lighter foods, more vegetarian, more salads in the summertime when it's hotter out. That kind of seasonal eating is reflected, as we go through each sign.
Yeah,
what's your sign, Annette?
I'm a Scorpio with a Scorpio rising and a
chocolate
Scorpio
chip cookies.
Dude.
Yeah, Scorpios it's an intense sign, so we say that they like intense flavors. Even if it's a very simple soup, it has to be very pure and intense.
And passionate. So Scorpio is the passionate sign. So
Ooh,
whatever it is, no gray areas in the food choices.
But as the sun goes through Scorpio, we're all a little bit Scorpio and all a little bit, mysterious and spooky during that time.
and now the sun's in Leo, and the eclipse on the 21st is going to be on the last degree of Leo. And I always like to think that the last and first degrees of each sign are the most powerful because they have to be the border guards differentiating the different signs one from the other. So it should be an interesting time because an eclipse is when the moon gets in front of the sun. So the sun is your ego, the moon is your emotions. So it's a time to watch out for your emotions getting in the way of your purpose and your ego.
And yes, we do have oysters for Scorpio in it.
So basically, if chocolate chip cookies are my nemesis during this eclipse, I should keep them away from me?
No, that's
I might want to
very
eat the whole
healthy
package.
cookies. They're made with coconut flour and.
In our book, that's one of the recipes for Scorpio is chocolate chip cookies.
Okay.
Wow.
Well,
you can eat them while you're reading your tarot
Amy,
cards.
Amy posted a recipe for brownies on her Facebook page one day, and I wrote it down, and I made them, and they were out of this world.
Oh, thank you. That's so good to hear.
You just described.
So now I'm looking forward to the chocolate chip cookies because the brownies were just to die for.
The brownies were left out of the book, believe it or not, and we gave that out as a bonus to people who pre-ordered the book. It's one of the best things ever.
I don't think I got them. Okay, now wait a minute. I'm having cookie envy right here.
Yeah, those brownies. It was also one of my favorite photographs. But what can you do? That's the nature of publishing.
So don't hang up because we want to give you a copy of the book. Okay,
Yay!
but here. Yeah, listen, get ready for this. Scorpio in the fall, roasted acorn squash with mushrooms and hazelnuts.
Yes. Yes. I'm Scorpio rising, so I'm drawn to that.
Oh,
and guess
I wanted to say that before because you were asking about, is each sign a carnivore. The rising sign is so important, and people don't, their rising sign. I'm working on a book about that right now.
Oh, so sun sign, for people that don't know, is not the rising sign.
Right. The rising sign is a sign on the horizon at the moment you're born. You said you were a Taurus rising.
Taurus.
Rising. And Taurus is the most sensual. It's the opposite sign of Scorpio, and those are the two really super sensual signs of the zodiac.
There you go.
So with Taurus rising, you would want the rich cream sauces. Well, in general, Taurus is all about luxury.
Yeah, they're the gastronomes of the zodiac.
I actually don't believe in fat-free. There's no like fat-free or light coconut milk. Who even invented light coconut milk? What's that about?
Yeah, and science backs you up, actually. A lot of the fat-free stuff is not necessarily the best thing.
I just read that you need fat for your brain, for your memory.
Is that why they call me a fathead?
Oh, my gosh. Annette, please don't hang up. We want to get some information so we could get you a book. Thanks for calling in.
Send me a picture when you make the cookies.
Yes. Before we go ahead, please tell folks how they can get a copy of their book, and also how they can find out more about you guys, right?
Sure. Well, it's The Enchanted World is our website. It's the Enchanted World, so the two E's run up against each other. And Amy has her own website, Amy with a Y, Zerner, ZERNER.com. That's for her clothing, jewelry, and art. And I have my sort of psychic advice website, which is my name, Monte with an E, Farber.com. And you can buy our book anywhere that books are sold. Please patronize your local bookstore. Ask them to order Signs and Seasons and Astrology Cookbook. And if they won't do that for some bizarre reason, and I guess they're going out of business, you can buy it online at Amazon or Barnes & Noble.
We have links on the Enchanted World. You see a slide of the cookbook come up as soon as you go to our website, and we have links to indie books and Amazon and Barnes & Noble, so you can buy it through our website. You can buy it through our website, but we really want you to patronize your local bookstore. They need your help. That's what Indie Books does. It takes you put in your zip code, and it takes you right to your local bookstore.
They do need your help. I have a friend, a bookstore in Port Townsend. Okay, I got a question for you both here. Wow, listeners are loving this show. Thank you all for taking the time to comment. Thank you so much, all of you. Benny, thank you for picking up all the phone calls you're getting. I want to ask a question. Have you two ever had like a food fight? Have you ever had a scenario? No, seriously, right? Because I can only imagine. The stuff?
You know, we don't fight that much, but say Monty goes and gets some takeout, and he comes home and the thing has bell peppers in it, and he knows I'm allergic to bell peppers, that kind of thing. I told you I had fat in my brain.
Yeah. Is it like, oh my God, Monty, how could you not know, like 43 years, that I'm allergic to bell peppers?
But then I feel bad because he's colorblind. He didn't see the red peppers.
This is true. I was thinking with my stomach and not my brain.
Yes, when you really love someone, you're very forgiving.
You know, isn't that the truth, though? And you know what I find, and maybe we can talk about this. I find it especially around food. I really do. I mean, you know, I can remember a time where I was supposed to get a roast beef, and I got the roast beef. But I'm just going to say, I didn't grow up in a wealthy family. So when you said roast beef for us, it was bottom round chuck, sliced thinly.
Yeah.
Okay. But people that don't have that experience, when you say, I would love for you to cook me a roast beef, they're thinking prime rib.
Yeah.
And my first roast beef in my relationship at the time, I really want to make you roast beef. And I went to the ShopRite and I got the roast beef, and I thought, oh my God, it's beautiful. Look at it. Looks a little weird, but I got it. And and how do you like it? Oh, I like it rare. Have you ever eaten bottom round chuck rare?
No. You got to have a slicer.
This is how you know you're in love. You serve it, you cut it, and they're trying to eat it. Yeah.
Well, I think also when you love someone, you want to make what they like, and you put love into it, and it's very nurturing to cook for each other. Monty's always making me breakfast that I love, and I love to make him what he likes. I mean, it's very important.
Yes.
What's your favorite? I want to know out of the book. What's each of you? What's your favorites? I know it's hard.
Saying what's your favorite child, but I mean the chestnut mousse.
Come on, I know I was the favorite child. I know I was the favorite.
The chocolate chestnut mousse, which is an Aquarian dessert, is definitely one of my favorites.
Yes, I love the desserts also, all the desserts.
Well, actually, the chicken tangine from yesterday was fabulous.
Yeah, it has olives, and we like it because Monty likes it because it's an unusual mix, but, it has olives and apricots, and it's those wonderful spices, and it's very aromatic.
And, you were speaking about bottom round chuck. But the chef who we cook for, grew up, we grew up in Brooklyn, me and him, but he now cooks for one of the wealthiest people in the world, and and everybody likes the same stuff. You can take bottom round chuck and make something amazing out of it. You might need a crock pot or a lot of time on it, but you can make. Our book is not necessarily super expensive ingredients. There's some unusual ingredients.
Yeah, like the tagine has preserved lemons, which I seem to crave lately.
Yeah, and simple food and fresh food and seasonal food is usually the best.
Yeah, but I think, Amy, you were the one telling me, right, that you're part Italian. You know this better than anybody. Italian grandmas don't own crock pots, right?
That's true.
My grandma would be turning over right now in her grave. I could hear her cussing at me in Italian if I ever cooked anything other than slow cook it for 2 days and then leave it out on the stove for a day.
Well, that's really good, actually.
Yeah, I don't have a crock pot either.
No.
Okay,
but a lot of people do just because they have to go to work, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It saves a lot of marriages, crock pot.
It definitely. I almost blew up the house with a pressure cooker.
My father did. And my father
Really?
was incredibly technical and was a police sergeant in New York City. I remember the roast hit the ceiling.
Well, fire signs, that's just another thing we go into the book, talking about personalities. Like Aries have to be careful not to burn themselves or cut themselves because it's just part of the sign's personality to do things too quickly, or it's a fire sign.
Yeah, the first time Amy and John's the one with the Italian grandmothers, he showed up and Amy had the same knives, these really dull, long serrated knives, because he's an Aries too, and Aries are afraid they're going to cut themselves, so they use these dull knives.
Just coincidentally.
Yeah, the same one. And John's always getting ribbed by all the other private chefs because they use stuff that looks like they're, surgeons.
Oh, my gosh. I know with this, I skipped 2 breaks because I needed to just have you guys share. I love this book. I love it because it is so revealing. When I was looking at the book and I looked at Capricorn and the Toshikoshi Soba, and I'm thinking, I just shared with you the pumpkin broth story that my friend cooked like this. Here's the question. What the book revealed to me is it doesn't matter what my ethnicity was. When I looked at some of these recipes, especially for what I know about my sign, I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. I mean, this thing transcends like ethnicity.
Thank you. I think, there's so many great cookbooks, and there's a very high bar set for food and food photography and food information now. So we really thought of a new twist, something that gives you, new information and a new way to look at it. And I'm glad people are liking it and trying it.
We spent 2 years making it.
Wow.
Yeah, because everything had to be made and tested and shot.
And we wanted original recipes, so we did a lot of experimenting.
And HarperCollins assigned us a real cookbook editor who had won the James Beard Award for cookbooks. Mm-hmm. So she kept everything going on the highest professional level that could be done. And I don't think I've ever been as proud of a book as I am of Signs and Seasons.
Yeah, I mean, and I really appreciate that you guys had sensitivity for the sensitivities that people have.
Oh, sure.
I think it's important for us to acknowledge that, and now even children. I want to ask you this question: if you, let's say you're part of a family and you kind of have to eat what's put on the table, and it's not really in your sign vibe. How does that affect you or not?
That's really an interesting question. I mean, my mother was not a good cook, so I became a good cook. And my father was actually a good cook, but didn't. I think it depends on your sign. If you're an Aries, you'll probably just go out and get something that you want anyway.
Yeah, I think it depends on the situation. If somebody's hosting a dinner, you have to be polite. Or if it's someone in the family, they have to get to know you better. And, it makes or breaks relationships. Well, food is very important.
Food. Do you know, I used to work in the film business, and the only time I ever saw a crew walk off the set was over food. They made them work incredibly hard hours, but when the food was wrong, they quit. Mm-hmm. And it cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. But if you can go through the sun signs, as an Aquarius myself, I would rebel against it and say, this can't go on. And if you're a Pisces, you just sit there and pretty much care about everybody else suffering with you. If you're an Aries, as I said, you'd go out and just do what you want. Taurus would not stand for it for a second. It's like, this is BS. Something's got to change here. Gemini would negotiate and talk and say, "Can we have something that I like once in a while?" And Cancer would sort of be on the side of everybody, and then that's the sign of the mother. So they would just start cooking their own stuff.
Hold it inside. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Leo would demand something. Bring me the right food. This is the wrong food.
Well, did you ever go to a restaurant with someone and they send back their food or they give the waiter a hard time? That makes you cringe, but, that's their personality.
That's such a good question, though. That really sort of stumps the stars.
It is. And the reason I'm asking is one thing for sure when I was younger, if I ordered eggs over light and you brought that yolk smashed all over my plate, something would happen. An alien would take over my body, and something would happen that I don't know. But I remember I went over to Joan and Bjorn's house, Linda's parents, once, and I went over, and they're Norwegian, and they had this salt pork and potatoes recipe with this white cream sauce, and they were raving, "You're going to love it. It's delicious. I got to cook it for you. I got to cook it." I put one bite in my mouth, and I went into a gag reaction.
Well, you're an honest.
I felt so bad.
Did you say something?
I was gagging at the table. I mean, what are you going to say?
Amy. The thing about Sag is if they don't tell the truth, they feel like they're lying.
Yeah.
But I couldn't control it. I mean, it was really like...
It doesn't sound very good to me either.
It still was delicious. I mean, honestly, these people were getting the bread But I don't know what it was about that. I think it was texture.
Heavily salted things are always hard, and they were originally designed because they were to be preserved for like being on ships or through the winter. Or
I do find that very different in different people what they can tolerate salty wise. Like Monte and I are very intolerant of it being too salty, and then some people throw so much taste buds.
Yeah, when we're out in a restaurant and someone puts salt on something, I'm just astounded because it's usually so salty to start with.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I can't believe the hour has buzzed by. One more time. Thank you so much. What fun. I hope you guys will come back.
You're so fun.
You're funny and you ask the best questions.
I mean, this is fun. This is totally fun. If nothing else, this is a way to communicate with your family. Just go through the book.
Yeah,
I mean, right there.
We did feel that it's a great conversation starter at the very least.
I'm going to bring it to our, by the way, we have once a year a white elephant. We've been doing it 25 years, like about 30 to 50 of my best female friends. And I am definitely all over this book for that. Thank you both. And one last thing.
Pat.
Website, please, please, please. How can we get a copy of the book? How can we find out more?
TheEnchantedWorld.com, and the book is Signs and Seasons, an Astrology Cookbook by Amy Zerner and Monte Farber from Harper Elixir from HarperCollins.
I love you both. Thank you so very, very much. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. We're going to take a short break. We're not done yet. Get ready. Soul awakening practice. Yeah, you know what? We do have to practice. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The Preceding audio was via a Skype call.